Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your August 2017 mid-month readings. I am doing the last few signs for the mid-month readings, probably a day or two or so later than I usually do the mid-months, but that's because I am playing catch-up, having gotten back from a surprise birthday trip to Morocco on an 8 or 9 day tour. And I couldn't really post while I was there. One, because I had promised my companion I would try not to work too much while we were gone, and two, because uh, internet connection throughout Morocco was really pretty bad. And even in some of the interesting little places we stayed at on the tour, it said we had internet connection, but I really couldn't do anything on the internet. So it was an absolutely fantastic trip. Wouldn't trade it for the world. And I've traveled to some pretty hot countries, but I've never experienced heat like that in my life. Extraordinary trip, extraordinary culture, country, and people. And I am now currently back in Poland, which is nice and cool right now. So as always, thank you for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your support, your feedback, and your comments. Keep them coming. You guys are brilliant. Thank you for those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings, and thank you so very much to my regular clients. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About or Description button, and that'll give you a little more information and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do a wide variety of different types of readings, and I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. So turnaround time is usually pretty quick. I can usually get back to you within the same day that you contact me with information, and we can usually set up a reading anywhere within a few days, upwards of 2 weeks, but almost always within a 2 week period of time we can set something up for you. So for those of you who are interested, send me an email and we will go from there. Moving right along, make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos, as we always say, and you're probably tired of hearing us always say that, but we kind of have to preface it that way because there's so many of you watching, thousands of you watching, so of course it's not going to mean the same thing to everybody watching. For example, this video is for Libra. It's not going to mean the same thing to some Libras. It may resonate in the relationship area of your life. It may resonate in the work area of your life. Your rising and your moon sign may play out a little more predictively for you than your sun sign during some times, but just by watching all three, it gives you additional bits of insight and clarity into what's going on in your life right now, which can be quite helpful in contemplating particularly any decisions or choices you have to make or things you're trying to work through. So just try to watch all three if you know them and if you can. And understand that these are general readings, and we're always very happy when they play out and are helpful to people, but they're not going to mean that same thing or resonate the same or be as helpful to some people as they will to others. So take everything with a grain of salt, and those of you who are meant to hear it and need to hear it will do so. I have faith in that. So this reading is for Libra, the air sign of Libra, for the last half of August 2017. We're looking at the last 2 weeks of August, time being somewhat relative, of course. So I will be pulling 2 cards for each of the remaining 2 weeks, with an additional 5th card from the bottom of the deck as your crowning card, representing overall energy and guidance. So Libra, we have the 7 of Wands, followed by the Hierophant. And we have the 10 of Swords, followed by the 9 of Pentacles. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance is the 3 of Cups. I just got like 3 messages almost at the same time, so I'm trying to sort them out. I feel like pulling one more card, Knight of Cups, from the crowning from the bottom of the deck to go with the 3 of Cups, so emotional support and love. So Libra, I feel like for a lot of you, those of you for whom this is going to resonate, the theme of friendship is really important, and really good close friendship, that kinship, sisterhood kind of friendship, or brotherhood kind of friendship. Uh, there's many of you watching, so being gender specific in general readings just doesn't work. It can be either or it can be, a male aspect of a female in a reading that's coming out in this particular area of her life, and vice versa. It's never, it's not often specific to the person's physiological gender. So it looks like friendship is an important theme and maybe an important support system for you over the next couple of weeks. This could be something that's been ongoing for a while, something that can continue to bleed over into September as well. For some of you, you're going to be on the receiving end of receiving this support from friends or needing to reach out to friends for support. For others of you, you're going to be the one offering support and giving support to somebody who looks like they may be having a hard time, and that hard time may be having something to do with bucking the system or stepping outside convention or tradition in some way. We we begin with interesting. I'll come to that in just a minute. I know sometimes when we get messages and you're not hearing the other side of the conversation, it sounds or appears a little bit crazy. We're not. I'll get to it in just a minute. It's a message that needs to get out. The Seven of Wands and the Hierophant. So the Seven of Wands, wands is fire energy. That's the element which governs the suit of wands, and it's a fiery energy. The suit of wands is a very dynamic suit. It's action oriented. It's all about change, movement, action, power. And the energy of that fire energy of the suit of wands is all about creating and building and manifesting. It's very forward moving and very action oriented. Can sometimes point towards career issues, artistic or creative endeavors, but you can apply the same energy, as I always say, to any area of your life. But this is how it manifests most often and most commonly in the suit of wands. The Seven of Wands is primarily a defensive card, and whether it's in the positive or negative can really depend on the situation surrounding cards with psychic channels, etc. The Seven of Wands is primarily a defensive card, and I am feeling it as a very defensive energy here right now. Somebody's really being put on the spot, and I feel like in a negative way, that they're not being negative, but they're really bucking something, that they're standing up for something which is going against the norm, going against opinion, going against tradition, cultures, standing up for themselves or perhaps even someone else. Because the Seven of Wands is about defending, protecting, guarding something that you feel very strongly about. It can be you yourself, another person. It can be an ideal, a belief system, an actual piece of property. You can see this man is standing in front of the door to his home, his castle, his keep, whatever it is specifically that he feels so strongly about because of how much he has invested in it. I'm getting that for somebody out there who's going to be watching this. It could be a group of somebody's, that one of the messages that needs to come out is somebody is stepping outside of what's viewed as proper or expected behavior in their perhaps family or cultural traditions. And it could be even that they have decided to I'm getting choice of partner is falling outside of their family's cultural customary tradition. Some of you, somebody may even be coming, or some of you may even be coming out in your family or in your social niche, or in the society that you reside in. You may be coming out in terms of sexuality or sexual orientation. And what you're really going against is this kind of deep-rooted, big, it's culture, it's tradition. It could be actually specific religion as well, family dynamics. But I am getting cultural tradition. Somebody's standing up for something that places them outside of what the people around them are expecting them to do, or expecting them to be or behave, do or say. And it's put you in a position you're really being quite defensive about it, because it's not something that you feel you can back down from, and you're in the right, because and I say that too, not because of personal opinion, but I always go back down to the fundamentals. When an issue gets really complicated, I try and pare it down to the fundamentals. Are you being true to who you are? Are you being true to your own sense of self, of personal honor and integrity? And it feels like for those of you who are in this particular situation, you're being true to yourself. And this could also also be somebody else, a friend who's doing the same thing that you're standing up for as well. And it could be a choice of romantic partner as well. You're veering outside of what's expected of you within your family system, culture, tradition, and you're really in a position to have to defend yourself, and you are. The Seven of Wands is paired with the Hierophant, which is a major arcana card. This is a card of convention, tradition, walking the prescribed path, going along with what everybody else is doing. It can represent organized religion, large institutions, corporations, large organized groups. There is a certain, it's neither a positive nor negative. I look at the Hierophant. It's kind of one of those cards. There is a certain sacrifice of perhaps individuality or self-expression sometimes with the Hierophant, but the payoff is belonging to a larger group of people, kind of having that umbrella shelter, and no judgment, either or. Different lifestyles work for different people. The Hierophant can also, particularly in relationships, represent taking something to a deeper and more committed level, a more committed level of response, a deeper level of commitment and responsibility. This could represent, and that might differ from couple to couple. That could mean getting engaged, getting married, moving in together, purchasing a home together, deciding to have a baby, whatever it means for you. In job, work, and career, this could represent signing a contract for an extended period of employment, accepting a job with more, or a promotion with more responsibilities and, more perks, but more responsibilities as well. Because for some of you, this is going to resonate in some of you, this is going to resonate in your own sense of self, the sphere of your life that deals with yourself, who you are, your sense of self, how you identify, who you identify as, standing up for that because it's being challenged, because it's going outside of the convention, some kind of convention that you're in. Some of you, this may be specifically relationships in terms of relationship partners. It could be your choice of converting from one religion to another. Some of you, this could be very concrete and tangible in job, work, and career sector of your life, of holding on to your job, holding on to seniority in your position, because the company may be in the process of downsizing or maybe I'm getting somebody's company has been bought out or bought by somebody else, and there's some changes, or there's some fear of changes of being downsized or losing your job, and you have a lot of seniority. That feels almost specifically oriented at one person, although it could always resonate with more than just one. Interesting. I've gotten kind of a barrage of different messages, all in different areas of life. So whoever needs to hear it's going to hear it. I always believe in that. The specifics of how this resonates for you and the area of your life in which this resonates is going to vary depending on who's watching it, because there's so many of you watching it. But as I always say, the energy, the basic foundation of the situation, the energy remains the same. Some of you are holding on to something you have a lot invested in: time, money, resources, seniority, etc. Whether that's a job, work, career thing, a project. It could even be a home or a piece of property, perhaps, that's being threatened or challenged in some way. For some of you, it's going to be your sense of identity. You're standing up. You're coming out as a different identity than what is socially acceptable in whatever circle, tradition, or culture you're in. Some of you, this is religious conversion. Some of you, it's choice of partner within a relationship. However it plays out specifically in your life, it's something you feel, I just have this huge feeling. It's like very strong. You feel very strong about this. You're defending, guarding, protecting something you feel very, very strongly about. It's almost fundamental for you. For some of you, it is fundamental because some of you, it's defending something you have a lot invested in, and it's a long time investment, which is what the Hierophant represents. For others of you, what you're fighting for and you're up against is kind of the system, or you're stepping outside some kind of large, it's almost kind of a David and Goliath kind of feeling. You're stepping outside of the expected norm and tradition, and you're being put on the defensive for it, but you're fighting it. Now, at or towards the end of the month, we have the Ten of Swords, followed by the Nine of Pentacles. And some of you, this may be a friend that you're helping as well, because I am getting that friendship looking at your crowning cards, which represent your overall energy and guidance. Friendship's going to be really important. So the friendship, the support of friends close to you, really good friends, friends who get you, friends who accept you and love you and care about you for who you are, and vice versa. Some of you, you're the one that's on the offering end. You're supporting somebody else through this as well. There is a sense of kind of betrayal, either of you or the person that you're supporting, not of each other. But it's almost as if this thing that you're being being put in a position to defend yourself against. Some of you, it's almost as if you didn't feel like this was going to happen, like whatever this Hierophant represents, large corporations, institutions, religions, culture, tradition, norms, whatever has been what people expected you to do, the path you were expected to trod. It's kind of like you're making a decision, or you're doing something that places you in maybe not opposition to that, but it's different than what you were expected, within what was expected of you. And the reaction for some of you has been so difficult and so challenging, or for someone that you care about that's really close to you, that you're supporting through this. We have this Ten of Swords energy, which is, often referred to as the stabbed in the back card. It does represent a sense of betrayal, unexpected betrayal. For some of you, I feel like that's coming from expecting to be supported by this thing which you've been devoting yourself to or whatever, and it's just not happening, or you knew that there would be some backlash, but you didn't know there was going to be this much, or whoever it is that you're supporting. Or job, work, career, project. You've invested yourself, you've been loyal, you've devoted yourself, all of this. And again, it's almost as if, well, this is what I get in return for it, a sense of betrayal. Either you yourself, I think the majority of you, it's something that you're going through and you're being supported by friends, and you need to reach out to friends as well, because they're going to be pretty vital to you. Or you're in the position of offering support to somebody else who's going through this too. This sense of betrayal can also represent a kind of a very deep sense of disappointment too, that you weren't expecting it. But the beauty, the positive aspects of cards like the Ten of Swords, some of it is numerical. The number 10 represents in tarot the end of a cycle, the coming full circle, the culmination or fulfillment of something. Whatever happened, whatever this incident actually is, whatever happened to put this man face down on the ground looks pretty challenging, even traumatic or painful. It's done though. It's over. The worst is behind him. It's not going to be this bad again. There's a healing light shining through these swords. It's time to get up and kind of dust yourself off and look at what's next, what's ahead, what's forward, and start moving again. You can see the sun is rising in the background. A new day is dawning. The animals are beginning to return to the scene. It does represent an ending, and for a lot of you, if not all of you, that ending may be painful or challenging. Endings often are, but they happen so that the ground can be cleared away, and so that what is old can die off for something new to be reborn, birthed, seeds planted for something new. It's time for this cycle to end and for you to move on and go your own way. Stay true to who you are, Libra, because that Ten of Swords is paired with the Nine of Pentacles. Swords is air energy also. Those of you who follow my videos regularly know I already touch on definitions of the suits, but there's always new people watching, so I like to kind of just touch on them. Swords is air energy. That's the element which governs the suit of swords, and it's a less of an emotional energy and more of a mental, cerebral energy. Air in swords is all about that airy world in our heads, what goes on up in our heads. The suit of swords is all about our ideas, our words, and how they affect how we communicate. It's about our belief systems, our outlook perspectives, basically how we look at things, how we look at life, what we think about things, and how that affects the way we communicate with people, with the world, with everything outside of ourselves. Mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. Swords can also represent truth, clarity, insight, higher education, and learning. Everything that connects with this. So the Ten of Swords is paired with the Nine of Pentacles. This is a beautiful energy, even though the Ten of Swords, again, can represent a painful or very challenging ending, something happening in a way you didn't expect and maybe leaving you feeling like, betrayed, like perhaps your loyalty wasn't rewarded or your investment, your time spent wasn't rewarded. or the people or organization or foundation that you thought was going to be there for you wasn't, leaving you with a sense of betrayal, disappointment, discouragement. But it's over. It's time to move on. This has come to an end because it's time to. We're moving into the energy of the Nine of Pentacles. This is earth energy. That's the element which governs the suit of Pentacles. Earthy energy, solidity, stability, sense of continuity. When you think about earth, it's slower moving, but it's steady. It's continuous. Pentacles, because it's earth energy, often manifests in the area of our life that deals with earthly, material, concrete things in the day-to-day world we live in. Things we can see and touch and feel. Things like money, finances, job, resources, assets. You know, those tangible things. You can apply the same energy to love and romance, spirituality. Again, perhaps tangible results of intangible efforts. It's about things that give us roots, solidity, and a sense of continuity. The Nine of Pentacles is a card. It can represent financial abundance, prosperity, because Pentacles sometimes does represent money, finances, material possessions, things that we can, actually feel and touch. Since tens represent the end of a cycle, the nine would represent a fair amount of prosperity and abundance financially and materially. The Nine of Pentacles is also a card of independence, self-sufficiency, and self-empowerment. Being at a place in your life when you feel those things, even if you may not be all that wealthy in actual dollars and cents or resources. It can be also just about that internal place where you're at, because you are who you are. You're grounded in who you are. You cannot be anybody other than who you are. So you cannot, give in to whatever this opposing force is, even if it's so much bigger than yourself, like that David and Goliath thing. You can see this woman is standing in her backyard. She is enjoying all of these things around her, which imply a sense of luxury, stability. It's considered a card of independence and self-sufficiency, because none of the things that she's enjoying, all of this beautiful abundance, has been handed to her on a silver platter. Everything that she's enjoying, everything she's taking advantage of, from being able to wear this beautiful dress, take good care of herself, enjoy her beautiful surroundings. She's worked long and hard for that. They are as a result of her own hard work, labors. She's enjoying the fruits of her labors, which she has worked so long and so hard for. It's sometimes nicknamed, I've heard it nicknamed, the happy, single, successful woman card, or male. I'm not sure if I hold to that, because I don't like it. It's not apparent whether she's single or not. If she is, great. She loves who she is. She loves her life. She loves where she's going. If she wants to be with someone, she'll take her time choosing, because she doesn't feel like she needs to do it out of a sense of need. If she's attached to someone, great. Same thing. Loves herself, loves her life, or he loves where she's going. It's a card of knowing who you are, knowing how hard you've worked, knowing that what you have, you've earned. Nobody can take that away from you, that experience away from you. Independence, self-sufficiency, self-empowerment. And it's a card of independence too. It's a card of whether you're of going on your own way, and whether that's alone, in terms of a partner or not. There is this theme of friendship. It's about staying true to yourself and being empowered by that, embracing who you are, loving yourself, loving your life, loving where you're going, just having all the pieces kind of click together in who and what you are, in spite of how difficult this may have been for some of you or for someone that you care about. It's about, it's not always easy to stand up for something we really believe in when it comes in opposition. But that's when we know if it's something that we actually do believe in, and how strong we are in it. And sometimes that does require a certain sense of sacrifice. And sometimes, we are put in a position to defend it, and people are in opposition to us. And it's not really fair, and it doesn't really reflect things. The scales evening out doesn't always reflect at the time it's happening. Sometimes it just feels like an unfair situation, and we just have to stay true to ourselves, even if we lose certain things because of that, and walk away. And sometimes that doesn't manifest. The scales don't appear to balance out until much later down the road, and it can be very difficult to do this. But this is when it matters the most, and this is when if what you really believe in is what you really believe in. And Libra, it looks like for those of you for whom this reading is going to resonate, really do believe in that. And if it's someone close to you going through that, then it's having that faith and loyalty of a friend in order to do that as well, supporting what you believe in, which is being authentic to who we are. Now, your overall energy and guidance is the Three of Cups and the Knight of Cups, because I felt like pulling another card. Knights are the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. So they often represent something being brought to you, offers and opportunities, or sometimes you extending it to somebody else. Cups is water. It's water energy, and it's all about that watery mercurial world of emotions, feelings, and relationships. The suit of cups often manifests in our emotional landscape and in our relationships with people, all different kinds of relationships. So this, and it also, knights can also represent the speed at which a situation moves. The Knight of Cups can be an offer of love, of emotional support. If I felt this was oriented more towards pure love and romance, it could be an offer of love, somebody asking you on a date, somebody bearing their heart to you, making their feelings known. Sometimes the Knight of Cups has difficulty with follow through because he gets so caught up in the moment. He's in love with love itself. He's just that idealist. But it can also represent an offer of loving support or emotional support. And I think for the majority of you, that's what it is for you this month. Somebody is offering that to you, or a group of people are, or you're offering it to somebody else. Although I think it's more for more of you, it's external coming in, because it's paired with the Three of Cups as well. This is a card of friendship. This is a card of really celebrating. It can be social, just going out having a really good time with your best friend, sisterhood, brothership, kind of that kindred spirit connection. But it's about really enjoying the people that really get you the most, that love you, accept you, see you for who you are, embrace you for who you are, and vice versa. So I feel like those closest to you, those friendships, the people who really know you, who really see who you are and love you, accept you, support you, it's going to be really helpful to you. It's going to be incoming to you, and you need to reach out for it as well. And for those of you who are on the offering side of this, it's about giving somebody that is fighting for what they believe in and what they hold true, fighting for that. Give them as much support as you possibly can, because it supports that own message inside yourself as well. So this has actually gone on much longer than the mid-months usually do, but well, that's just the way it turns out sometimes. So Libra, this pretty much wraps up your August 2017 mid-month reading. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit of an intense one, although quite positive, I think, and quite strong and beautiful, even in the struggle of it, because sometimes the struggle can be quite beautiful too, because of what we gain from it and the message that we give both to ourselves and to the world at large, especially in a world where, if you turn the news on today, it's just kind of insanity out there. So thank you very much for watching, Libra. And again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, and you haven't read with me before and don't have my contact information, you can go to my YouTube channel, click on that About or Description button, and it has my email address on it as well, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the September general readings. And until then, Libra, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.